Okay, we're going to put the insoles on now. I use a good heavy insole. The heavier insole, the better. This is the backbone of your boot. This is where so many factory boots fall down on the job. They again have to be formed with a machine, so they use a little bit lighter weight insole. I use the heaviest I can buy. This is probably what most of you repairmen are using for outsoles. I use this. We'll take this, we'll take the flesh off the inside of them. We'll also take the finish off here, the glaze. You've had insoles come in that are cracked out from people who perspire terribly. By taking this hard finish off, you're going to prolong the life of the boot. You're going to take the cracking away to a degree. This finish won't crack on it. So the first thing we'll do here is we'll take the finish off of them. We'll take the flesh off the underside. I'm going to take and smooth out my buildups. I'll use the knob keg to smooth this out. And then we'll soak these and show you where we go from here. Okay, I cheated a little bit and did the other one so you wouldn't have to listen to the machines run quite so long. I also did the other insole. So from here I'm going to take and soak these now for about 10 minutes in warm water and get them good and soft. And we'll attach them to the insole then and show you what we do from there. Okay, these have been soaking now for about 15 minutes. They're very soft. From here we'll take and put them on the last. I'll do it two ways for you. Before I do that, I think I'll mention something that I've run into. I cut my counters and my insoles, my soles out of heavy leather, firm leather. And when you soak this leather, you'll notice the brown you're getting off it, the acid you're getting off it. If you do that in a metal container, this is going to turn black. If you take the counters and the insole and make a boot over that, you're going to end up with stains in your leather, especially lighter colored boots that you make, because you're going to wash this acid out and it's going to leave you a black or a white line on the boot that you're making. So do it in a sink and rinse them. If you're doing your counters and you're getting a great deal of color off the counter, drain it, put fresh water in and do it again. It's just going to save you some water stains at a later date. And they're not fun to get out. Okay, we'll do one the old-fashioned way. This is a simple jack, the equivalent of a shoe repair jack, except for the difference. This is a shoe repair jack. As you can see, it has the square point on it. And our shoe repair lasts fit this one. Every time, when you work with lasts, you're going to be working with a 1/2-inch ferrule, as we were speaking. You can do it one of two ways. You can make yourself a jack for it. You can make yourself an adapter to fit in this jack. I would say probably this would be the better way to go, simply because you don't have something else standing around. You could hang this portion up on the wall. It's not taking up floor space. Anyway, you're going to need something like this. We're going to put our insole on. This has a a metal plate in the heel area only. We have one area only to tack. So we're going to put the insole on and do her the old-fashioned way with the tack hammer.
Hair side towards the...
Right, flesh side up. Okay. Then we've made a leather strap here that we're going to hang across the instep.
The hair side towards the last.
Yeah, flesh side up. Okay. Then you're going to want to shape it a little bit. Slack up just a little so you can tack your toe. working with plastic lasts, you're going to discover very shortly what I'm talking about as far as the stapler. Now, I've got more tacks to put in it, but I'll show you here. You're going to have to either wrap the last like I'm going to show you, or you're going to have to take and tack it all the way around so that this dries formed to the last. This is the way I used to do it until I was shown this method with the elastic. I put one in the instep, and I put one in the ball of the foot. Now, you would have probably 8 or 10 more to drive if you were going to shape this. Some people don't like the metal heel plate because they can't get in here and suck this down. Okay, from here we're going to run the hammer around it like so. And we're going to come over to the 5-in-1 machine. I'll show you. Probably on this side's the best. After you've pounded it, you're going to notice a line that you've marked on the insole, all the way around. Cut out from that about approximately 1/8 of an inch on the impression you've made by pounding the wet leather into the last. This is basically to allow for shrinking. This insole is going to shrink quite a bit. Okay, I've got approximately that much all the way around on it. The instep, you're going to do approximately the same thing. The other one I'm going to put on with the stapler, just to give you an idea here. It's just that third hand, and you're also working with plastic. I simply put my thumb there. You have to find the tack hole in the heel. Ready to go. Trim it as we did before. Shoe repair shops, you'll find this use especially this tacker especially helpful in sandals. We tack the sides of sandals with it all the time, so it isn't something that you're just going to have for using strictly to make boots. It pays for itself. And when we get to lasting, you're especially going to appreciate it. Okay, we'll trim this one again about 1/8 of an inch away from the line. Okay, now we'll get a little more off this side. There we go. Now I'll show you the simplest way to shape your insoles that I've found. This is a pretty neat trick, especially if you've done any type of shaping the old-fashioned way by putting the nails around and letting it dry that way. Simply take about 2.5 inch wide elastic, start at the heel, and wrap her tight. And let the elastic do the work for you. Okay, from here I go over the hoop, over the heel and right over the toe. The toe is the hardest part to get, and if you go directly over the top of it, it's a lot easier. And again, you can place tacks in it, or if you have the stapler, it's that third hand again we're talking about. There you go. I'll go on ahead and wrap this other one here. It takes, approximately 3 days for these to dry before you can work them any farther. There are boot companies that don't mold their insoles. And again, they use a much lighter weight insole than we do. And that's partially why the inseam rips out. It's partially why us repairmen have had to sew as much welt of late as we've had to. This one we're a little short on, so we'll double back on her here. Like so. Okay, now we'll let them dry for approximately 2 days, and we'll channel the insoles.
Something just went on.
Okay, here we go. These have dried about 3 days. We're going to pull the staples out. This is just a standard USM tack puller. If you get into using a staple gun, you're going to find it essential. If you use shoe tacks, you're going to want one of them. Working with plastic isn't too bad. If you're working with wooden lasts, they're a bugger to get out. If you do this elastic trick, stretch the elastic tight again, and it's a lot easier to get to the staple. Okay. There, as you can see, that is molded very well. And by allowing that extra 1/8 of an inch to stick out here, the pre-shrinking has almost brought it down to normal size. So we have very little extra trimming to do on this one here. I'll go ahead and unwrap the other one. Okay, blue, same thing. From here we're going to sand the edge down smooth at the last. You're not going to undercut the edge of the insole where you've built up. If you have a built-up on the side, you go out to the edge of the build-up, not to the last. So we'll sand the edge of this down. We're going to sand the insoles down. You want to make sure that you have both insoles across here about the same width. That way the boot will feel the same on the bottom of his foot. So when you get to trimming here, you want these about the same. After we've got the edges sanded down, I'll mark out on here where we're going to channel the edge of it, and we'll go that far. So from here I'll sand the edges, and then we'll take the next step on. Okay, basically I tapered it away from the last. I tapered it in this way. Through the arch, you're going to taper it severely so that when you bring the leather around, you don't have a sharp shoulder for the leather to fold over. If you were making a full welted boot, such as one if you wanted to put a rubber sole on, or for say a Wellington or something with a flat arch, you aren't going to taper this. You're going to leave this shoulder straight. You're also going to leave it a little bit fuller in here by about 1/4 of an inch. Taper the heel so that when you slide that counter over it, it slides smoothly. Follow the curve of the heel. From here, we're going to take and we're going to go in approximately 1/8 of an inch, like so, and we're going to kind of countersink, like this. Okay, we come back to approximately here. This is about where you would consider the waist of the boot. You want to bring your welt back on a 3/4 welted boot past the ball of the foot. So many of the factory boots now, they're ending them up about here, and this keeps coming loose because this is where all the flex of your boot is, right here. So you want to come back to about here. Something like that. Okay? From here we'll go ahead and countersink that, and I'll show you a trick way to do this as well here. Take your lady's heel trimmer, take the guide off of it. You want to set your last up to where you're trimming about the depth in this way that you want to go. And the rest is eyesight. I really don't have a guide for depth on it. I do it mostly by feel. You want to go approximately halfway through the insole, about like that. We'll go ahead and trim these here, and it helps if it's sharp. When you come to the ball of the foot in this area, you're going to have to twist the last a little bit like so to be able to get into here because of this here. Getting back to last being straightened out for machinery, if this was an older style last, it would be hung over even more, and you'd begin to appreciate why they've straightened them up. Okay. This one. I don't think you have to listen to the noise for the other one to go through. What we've done is gone in here, a little over 1/8 of an inch. We've gone in here a little over 1/8 of an inch. This gives you a place for the leather to come up around and for your welt inseam to set into. From here we're going to take and do the inside seam where the thread's got to come out when we sew it. When you're going to be sewing your inseam, you're going to go through your boot. You're going to want to find this shoulder. That's part of the reason why I use a sharp trimmer head, so that you get this edge at a 90-degree angle here. Okay? So you're going to go in here. You want to find this shoulder right here, and then you're going to come out this next seam that we're going to cut. You're going to take...
You might also mention they can do that with a knife if they have to, if they don't have a trimmer.
Yes, yes, yes. You take a very sharp knife. We found these breakaway knives like this work very well for this purpose. You've got a very thin blade to work with. and you aren't spending a lot of time sharpening knives. They do have layout knives, pattern knives that I'll show you that you can buy. I feel that extra few cents I spend on the blades for this is well worth the time that I spend working on material rather than sharpening my knife. You would take and you would cut along here approximately that little over 1/8 of an inch deep, and this way. You might even moisten it a little bit to make cutting a little easier on it. They get very, very hard, and they seem to stick to the plastic or wood lasts once you've molded them this well. So you don't have to worry about them breaking free. We've got the 4 tacks in here. If you were doing it the other way, you would end up having nails in it all the way around like this. And the trouble with that is you never seem to guess the right place to put the nails. So when you go to channel this, you end up moving nails over. It's a great deal more work. I have one tack right there, one of the tacks, one of the staples, I mean, right there. You'll get accustomed to where to put them. This one I don't have to move for my inside channel. This is fine. That again has probably saved you 15-20 minutes doing this. This nailing all the way around is just extra work. That bandage trick works equally as well. From here, we're going to drop in a good 3/8 of an inch, like so. Okay, and we're going to cut a channel holding the knife approximately at this angle. We're just going to go in and we're going to cut about 1/8 of an inch deep on it all the way around. This is going to give you a place for your thread to come out. You can take and cut it like this, and then cut it like this, and take this piece of leather out. But it's something that you're going to have to refill later, so why cut it out to start with? This works equally as well. So we'll go over here, and I'll start in this direction. And again, you want the knife about like this, and you want to go in that good 1/8 of an inch. If you're having trouble with it, you can make it wet again. Moisten the front of it, that helps a little bit. Okay, come over and do this side. And you don't have to be too careful in this here. If you weave in and out a little bit, that's fine. You take a simple heel pry and make this wet. I'll show you what's going to happen here. Where you've channeled the inside, you've come up with a pocket very similar to the boot you've been accustomed to working on. Okay, you're going to go in here, you're going to come out here with the thread. This is going to give you your inseam. I recommend that 3/8 of an inch across here, because as the boot gets older, it's going to shrink a little bit. The more meat you put in here, the less likely that welt seam is going to pull out. Okay, I don't normally raise this seam as I'm doing here at this time, because when you last it, you will flatten this seam back out on it. You do go ahead and channel it on the inside, but you don't have to raise it at this time. I raised it more or less so you could see what we're doing here. From here, we're going to go to the table and show you some leather, so your lasts are ready to go.